I am not one of those practitioners that believe every single person and child has experienced profound or any type of childhood trauma. I will say that there are times you don't realize you had some type of traumatic environment that does mold you into the person you're with today. I'll give you a perfect example. I was talking with this individual the other day, and they were like, I didn't have any problems at all. My parents were actually wonderful, and they stayed together, and they were pillars of the community. And as I was working with this individual in the session, it was a male, and come to find out, his parents were overachievers. They did have an exceptional work integrity, but what did that mean? That meant that no matter what, they did not miss work. If they were sick, they went to work. If the son had a play, if he had a parent-teacher meeting, something important in school, the parents did not miss work. And he grew up feeling, a little neglected at times, a little abandoned, number two in line to parents' work, and that gave him self-esteem issues. The other thing too is he said, my parents were very generous to a fault. Okay, you look at that and you're like, well, how could you have any issues with that? Well, what happened was, anytime the parents were with him, if somebody from the church called, if somebody from the job called, if his neighbor called, if a friend called, if a family member called, they immediately went and dealt with what had to be, dealt with. If he was sitting down with dinner, the parents would get up and answer the phone if he was in the middle of a conversation. So, you from the outside, you can say, well, how would this kid have any issues? His family stayed together, his family had great work ethic, his family was generous. Yes, however, now this gentleman it walks around feeling like he didn't deserve all of his parents' attention. He was number two. He was not good enough for his parents, and he's now working out a lot of issues. So if you're watching this, or if you know somebody that's in this situation, you don't have to get beaten and screamed at and burned and abused and beaten and all this other stuff. You could come from a really great family that has good intentions, but their behavior showed you something, made you feel something, and now you're dealing with that as adults. Because I say all the time, we spend usually the first 18 years of our life learning, who we are, learning, and then the next 50 years of our life really trying to unlearn a lot of the unhealthy things we did. And it doesn't mean our parents had bad intentions half the time. I don't believe any parents bring children into the world to necessarily screw them up. I mean, there are cases and times that happens, but their behavior does at times screw us up. So something to think about, something to look into, and if you got some issues, something to address.